Hi, hello, and happy Halloween! It's Via here, and I hope everyone's fall season has been full of cozy vibes, pumpkin spice, apple cider, spooky fun, and everything else you might have wanted out of it. Fall is one of my favorite seasons. I love the cool weather and the warm tones that nature chooses to share with us at this time of year. Even the rain is beautiful in its own way, although the mud is a bit of a nuisance for us pet owners, but I digress. I managed to get this video up on time, which is incredible, honestly, because I didn't think I was gonna make it. Actually, I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to get this video out at all because I was having a hard time deciding on the topic for the talking side of things. I really didn't want to go back to making music-only speed paints. My last video made me a huge fan of narrated art content, and I just feel like I can't really go back now. I was really focused on talking about something spooky and distinctly Halloween themed, but I really couldn't think of a whole lot. So I set the video aside and left the thought in the back of my mind. And after some passive thinking here and there, I decided that I would talk about something that's been scary for me, even though it's not really Halloween themed. But I do think the topic goes well with the piece. So hopefully it'll be engaging and exciting to listen to anyway. Speaking of the piece, today I've got a fun Halloween art to share with you that I sketched up earlier this month. This piece is something a little unusual for Via Pig. I've drawn her all kinds of ways, but I didn't really think that this would ever be one of them. It's hard to think of her showing skin or being playful like this, but that's just because it's hard for me to think of myself that way. The concept is innocent enough. A while back, I did this little draw-over of my Sona on a picture of Fat Nuggets from Hazbin Hotel. I thought that it was super cute, and I loved how the colors went with her design. I decided that I'd make a Fat Nuggets-based Halloween costume for her when the time came, and that's what I went into this piece planning to do. I ended up making the costume more revealing than intended, but I found that she looked really pretty in it, so I decided to proceed with the piece anyway. The topic of today's video goes hand in hand with that, because like I said, I want to talk about something that's scary for me, and that's my body image. I know that I touched on this briefly in my last video where I was telling you about Via Pig, but I didn't have the chance to really get in depth with it, or my journey of self-love. I think that's an important journey to share, so I wanted to focus on that while I work on this very body-positive piece. When I was little, body image was so vastly far from my mind. Like most kids, my main concern was having fun and growing up, which I am so thankful for. Every person around me was just another person, and I can't recall having any real concept of weight, beauty, or lack thereof for a pretty long time. I was just me, and everything about me was fine and good. My body worked as intended, and it got me where I needed to go, and I didn't really have any complaints. Unfortunately, I was still pretty young when I was set on a nearly 2-decade-long journey of self-hatred. I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 when my grandmother first told me I was getting a muffin top. That comment and her continued behavior over the years have damaged my self-image so badly that I truly never believed that I could recover. Over the years, she would continue to make comments about my appearance, varying in subtlety, of course. She'd often tell me she was concerned about my weight and health. She was also the type who would push serving sizes on me and deny me additional snacks when I was hungry because I'd already had what she deemed to be appropriate. Between that and how my mom treated snacks growing up, keeping them in her bedroom, it resulted in me hiding, hoarding, and sneaking food. Eventually, that also led to binge eating, which contributed further to my weight and made my grandmother's treatment of me regarding my body even worse. All of these food-centered behaviors are things I still struggle with to this day, and I have made almost no progress on them. My relationship with food is so damaged, distorted, and severe, and it should never have gotten this far. I don't know if I blame her, really. Not all the way, anyway. She's an extremely health-focused person. She watches what she eats, works out, and is honestly extremely healthy for her age. We've also had some pretty severe and dangerous cases of obesity in our family, so I do understand that she was worried for me. I know that all the things she said and did came from a place of genuine love and care, but that doesn't mean that they didn't cause me harm, or that the harm inflicted was any less severe or real. No child should ever be put in the position that I was. There are better, safer ways to introduce your kids to health and teach them to make healthy choices, and exactly 0 of those are what my grandmother put me through. Her actions resulted in lifelong, severe, and nearly irreparable damage to not only my mental health, but my physical health too. I don't fully blame her, but I will never forget that my body image issues stemmed not from a bully at school, not from unrealistic beauty standards in media, but from someone I was taught to trust, from someone who says she loves me regularly. That is a different kind of pain, and one that I know I'm not alone in feeling, whether regarding this or something else entirely. Our families have a lot of power in our development, and sometimes their choices cause damage they can't even begin to fathom. As I grew in age and weight, so too did the negative feelings I had about myself. I went from loving myself to hating myself slowly over the course of several years. It wasn't just my body either. It became everything. Suddenly, my art wasn't good enough, my singing was bad, and my body was ugly. It got to the point that compliments of any kind made me genuinely uncomfortable. I was so convinced that I was an unappealing person with no talent that I had a hard time believing that anyone's kind comments were genuine. To me, they felt more fake, forced, or biased. I had become completely incapable of seeing anything good about myself, and I was just a kid. I still struggle with compliments to this day. Before long, I dreaded having pictures taken, but what I dreaded even more was seeing them after the fact. I would always wince when I saw them shared by family online, and it came to the point that I asked them to stop sharing them entirely because it made me feel so disgusting. When they shared them anyway and acted entitled to doing that, it made me feel so much worse. I hated that everyone could see a version of me that I thought was so ugly, and I hated that I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't even like mirrors anymore. Looking in them would make me feel sick to my stomach. Sometimes I'd even be afraid to look in case I'd gotten uglier since the last time. I'd begun avoiding so many of the things I was interested in purely because I felt too ugly or unskilled for them. I stopped trying on clothes because they made me feel fat when they didn't fit. I stopped going clothes shopping altogether when I could avoid it. I stopped hanging out with friends. I avoided fun outdoor activities because my body couldn't keep up. I avoided things like cosplay or formal events because I thought the clothes looked bad on me. I missed out on so many opportunities because I didn't like myself enough to take them. I ended up changing my whole identity because I even felt like my name carried ugliness in every letter. In the deepest reaches of my self-loathing, I couldn't find a single thing to like about myself, and I was truly and genuinely miserable. I'm 27 now, and I still struggle with these feelings, but I've begun to learn self-love in the last year or so, and that's come largely as a result of ViaPig. When I sat down and began to design her, I knew right away that I wanted her to look like me. Not the me in my head, but the me on the outside. I wanted to have my hair, my eyes, my skin tone, and I wanted her to have my body type. I'm not sure why I wanted that. Looking back, I can't identify what made me feel inclined to have a character that resembled something I've hated my entire life, but I did. I can only imagine that her being a pig made me feel more comfortable giving her those features. I guess her species made it feel acceptable and appropriate for me at first. After all, pigs are fat. Maybe seeing her features on an animal I loved so much made me find them more pleasant too. As I kept drawing, I fell further and further in love. I loved the reference, I loved her, and I realized for just a fraction of a moment that I loved me too. It was a feeling unlike anything I've ever felt, and it is so hard to explain. But when I looked at that finished reference, I just felt seen. But not seen by a friend, not a family member, seen by me, the person who had been most blind for years and years. As I've continued to draw her over the past year, I've grown more and more comfortable drawing my body type, more comfortable seeing my body type. Through loving her, I've been able to love myself little by little. I think she's cute, pretty, beautiful even, and I've been able to apply those feelings to myself too sometimes. I'm still happy with my current name and identity, but I'm learning to accept my legal name as a part of me again as well, which is something I never believed I could come to terms with. I'm headed in the right direction, but I have a lot of pain to recover from and a lot of unhealthy patterns to unlearn. My journey to self-love has just begun, and I'm sure it won't come to an end anytime soon. Unfortunately, I am still around a lot of the people who contributed to those feelings, like my grandmother, and that means I'm still around those behaviors as well. I'm better equipped to handle them now, but that doesn't make them ineffective. My recovery from self-hate is slow, but it is moving, and I am so proud of myself. I never thought I'd be able to look in the mirror and smile back at my reflection again, but I have been. There are still times where my body makes me uncomfortable, or where things about it make me feel bad. Sometimes negative comments from the people around me hit me harder than they should, or a bad experience brings me back to those very dark times. But I'm moving forward, and that's something I can celebrate. If you're stuck feeling the way that I did, please know that you are beautiful in your own way. I know that, like me, you might struggle to believe or trust that. It might seem fake or superficial because I'm just somebody online and I don't know you, but I hope someday you'll believe it for yourself. Know that the voice in your head is just echoing the things it has heard from others. You have the power to teach it new things, amazing, wonderful things that you can feel good about. If I could say anything to my younger self, it would be that I love her. I love me. She and I are beautiful, skilled, and worth everything and more. Our beauty and value are not quantified by anyone or their words. We are as pretty, cool, and talented as we want to be, and no one should have ever had the power or influence to take that away from us. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for sticking around. I know that this topic was heavy and emotional, and I really appreciate if you took the time to feel that with me. I also really hope that you like the finished art piece. I am thrilled with how it came out, and I'm so excited that I could share it with you on time. I do have a bit of housekeeping to attend to before we end off, if that's all right with you. I want to let you know that my name and aesthetic change will be explained. I have another video in the works that'll talk in depth about my rebrand and all of the things that went into it. I wanted to get it out before this video, but it is a massive project, and I ended up just running out of time. That's why you're seeing this one first. Just hang tight. It's all scripted out and it'll be coming in the next month or two. I just really gotta lock in on it and get it done. As always, a huge shout out to Fergana, Cerberus Prince, and Donnie 2x4, my Piggy Premium patrons, as well as all my other wonderful patrons. I love and appreciate you all so much. Your contributions motivate me to keep pushing through the complicated world of content creation. If you'd like to support me as well, you can find my Patreon link down in the description below. I also want to extend a very sincere thank you to everyone who has offered their kindness, care, and support through this adventure towards self-love. It is not an easy journey, and the fact that you have been part of it is everything to me. Whether we talk every day, chat here and there, or we've parted ways, the roles you've played are more important than I can ever put into words, and I will never forget it. I will always appreciate you guys for that, no matter where our paths lead us. I've also got one last note, and it is an impossibly enormous thank you to my amazing therapist. I have learned and grown so much under your guidance over the last several years, and I wouldn't be where I am now without you. Much love, everyone, and again, thanks for watching. I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like or a comment below to appease the YouTube gods, and subscribe if you'd like to see my videos more often in the future. But otherwise, I hope you had an amazing Halloween, have an incredible week, had an incredible month, and I'll see you around in the next video.